All right, if you're in the IT world and you're mapping out your next big career move, you absolutely need to know about CRISC. Seriously, it's a certification that's becoming a huge game changer in IT risk, and today we're going to break down exactly what it is and why it matters so much.
So, what's the big deal with CRISC? Well, here's the thing. It's the only professional credential out there that focuses squarely on enterprise IT risk management. That is its superpower. While other certifications might touch on security in a broad sense, CRISC just zeroes in on that critical spot where business strategy and digital protection meet.
So first up, let's get into what this certification really represents. Think of it less like a piece of paper and more like an expert's badge of honor. CRISC stands for Certified in Risk and Information Systems Control. It's a globally recognized credential from ISACA, and it proves you can handle the entire lifecycle of IT risk. This isn't just about theory, It's about proving you have the real-world chops to protect an organization from actual digital threats. But see, CRISC makes you more than just a tech expert. It proves you're a bridge builder. That's the key. You're the person who can translate complicated security stuff into real business value. You become the one who can explain risk to the executives just as clearly as you can to your IT team. And that's why it's considered the gold standard. Okay, so it sounds pretty impressive, right? But is it the right move for you and your career? Let's do a quick gut check. Look, CRISC is really built for mid-career professionals. We're talking about people who are already deep in the world of IT audit, risk, and security. So, if you're a security director, a CISO, or maybe a project manager who wants to better connect IT with business goals, you are right in the sweet spot. Now, on the flip side, if you're just starting out and you don't have that required 3 years of experience yet, it's probably one to put on your roadmap for the future. So, if this all sounds like you, the next question is obvious, right? How do I actually get this thing? Let's walk through the blueprint for earning this credential. The journey is broken down into 4 pretty clear steps. First, you gain the right experience. Then, you pass the exam, submit your application, and finally, you maintain your certification with continuing education. It's a very structured path, not some random sprint to the finish line. Let's really dig into that first step because it is absolutely crucial. You need at least 3 years of hands-on experience, and it has to be across at least 2 of the 4 CRISC domains. The key thing here is that this isn't about what you read in a book. ISACA is super strict about this. No waivers, no substitutions. And that tough requirement is exactly what gives the certification so much weight in the real world.
Okay, once you've got the experience locked down, it's time for the exam. The format is pretty straightforward. You've got 150 multiple-choice questions to get through in 4 hours. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint, and it tests your knowledge and your endurance.
So what does it actually take to pass? Well, the magic number is 450. Now, this isn't just a simple percentage, it's what's called a scaled score, on a range from 200 to 800. This is how ISACA makes sure that no matter which version of the exam you get, the passing standard is always fair and consistent. So, where should you really be focusing your study time? The exam weights pretty much tell you the whole story. Risk response and reporting, that's the biggest piece of the pie at 32%, with governance right behind it. This is basically your roadmap for studying smart and maximizing your chances of passing. Of course, there's a financial investment to think about. But here's the real pro tip. Becoming an ISACA member can save you almost $200 on the exam registration alone. Honestly, in most cases, the membership pretty much pays for itself right from the get-go. And now, let's get to the part everyone really wants to know about, the payoff. We've talked about the effort, we've talked about the cost, so let's connect all of that to the real, tangible return on investment for your career. And believe me, the payoff is significant. According to ISACA, the average salary for a CRISC certified pro in the US is over $151,000 a year. That is a powerful number. It shows you the direct financial value that employers are putting on this specific skill set. And as you climb that career ladder, that number just keeps going up. This certification really fuels your earning potential, especially in those senior roles. A director of risk management, we're talking over $165,000. A CISO with a CRISC, you could be seeing salaries pushing $200,000, and even more. This certification opens doors to a whole range of high-level roles. Things like IT risk manager, CISO, information security director. These aren't just jobs, they're high-impact career paths where you're at the table making strategic decisions that affect the entire company. But what does all this mean when you're out there in a competitive job market? Well, here's what hiring managers are saying. When they're looking at two very similar resumes, the CRISC certification acts as a massive differentiator. It's a clear signal that you have the exact knowledge they're desperately looking for. And it can absolutely be the deciding factor that gets you the job.
So, we've covered the what, the why, the how, and the big payoff. Which brings us to our final section, where, really, the decision is all yours.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. When you think about your experience, your career goals, and the clear value this thing has in the marketplace, is earning the CRISC certification the strategic key you need to unlock that next level? Because it's not just about managing risk, it's about leading through it.